This is part of the Now Explain Computerizing a Manual Bookkeeping System series. This presentation is linked with the Now Explain Manual Bookkeeping series of videos. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you can find the manual bookkeeping version of this video there. This presentation will use the same data as that used in the manual bookkeeping series, and so customer, supplier and general ledger balances will all be numerically the same. The ultimate goal is to provide you with a way of comparing a manual bookkeeping system to a computerized bookkeeping system. This presentation will show you how the operation of a computerized bookkeeping system will differ to a manual bookkeeping system. So, Petty Cash Daybook, what it is and why we need this daybook. Manual bookkeeping without computers. This is pen and paper bookkeeping using daybooks, the books of original entry, also known as first entry or prime entry daybooks. We are collecting information from the source documents. Computerized bookkeeping, we're going to replace the paper books. We're going to have computer and bookkeeping software, no spreadsheets allowed. The source documents are still required. Everything is integrated and linked. Duplication is removed. You can record much more detail, no column limits, as with a paper book. Related daybooks. The purchase invoice daybook and similar related terms used. Suppliers, cash purchases, creditors, vendors, cash checks, impress system. We will keep a manual bookkeeping system for the Petty Cash Daybook. The Petty Cash Daybook is a daybook for small value, petty purchases usually paid for in cash. And this is not to be confused with cash purchases or no credit purchases. Instead of entering many small value purchase invoices, it is easier to manage small purchases in a handwritten book. As petty cash involves many small items and involves handling small amounts of cash, it is usually more efficient to stay using a manual petty cash system. What can be created for the bookkeeping software system is a summary of the values of the petty cash expended during a week or month. We can create a petty cash summary purchase invoice that only has the totals of the petty cash spent. So we can take these totals at the end of the Petty Cash Daybook. On the next pages, we will start the process of how to create the petty cash summary invoice. We are going to take many petty cash vouchers, record them in a Petty Cash Daybook, and create a dummy invoice or a petty cash summary values invoice so we can record the petty cash expenses in our bookkeeping software. This means we don't have to enter every small petty transaction in our bookkeeping software, and the vouchers can be recorded by one person in a Petty Cash Daybook, which makes it more efficient and quicker. Here's a petty cash voucher. We will create a petty cash summary invoice, and the values on this petty cash summary invoice will be all the petty cash vouchers recorded in the Petty Cash Daybook. Here's an example of a Petty Cash Daybook. Let us see how this till receipt, which we got when we bought some items in the local shop, will be dealt with. We complete a petty cash voucher like that shown here. We will staple the till receipt to this voucher. This petty cash voucher will be recorded in our Petty Cash Daybook. Note, see the video on using the impress system for managing petty cash. Here is where our petty cash details are recorded. This was the voucher we just saw on the previous screen. Here are the totals of the Petty Cash Daybook. By totaling each column, this allows us to see what the total petty cash purchases are for the day, week or month. In this example, we are seeing the monthly amount spent and what it was spent on. We are going to use the totals of the petty cash book to create the data to enter into our bookkeeping software. We take the column totals from the Petty Cash Daybook and create a purchase invoice as shown here. It shows the totals, the nets, and where it was spent. We will set up a petty cash supplier to post this invoice to. This is where we enter our dummy petty cash invoice. This allows us to analyse the values that get posted to the general ledger in a similar way to the manual petty cash daybook. Here's the petty cash dummy invoice data entry screen completed, which is also the purchase invoice data entry screen. This is the key difference between a manual bookkeeping system and a computerized system. We only need to enter the data once on this data entry screen, and then every other ledger, the supplier ledger and all general ledger accounts are updated for you automatically by the software. We have set up a supplier account for petty cash. We will take the values from the petty cash invoice and enter them into our bookkeeping software. We've got our totals, our nets, our VATs, and all our expense analysis. For petty cash computerized bookkeeping, when you enter the petty cash expenses, all the linked ledgers are updated immediately. The supplier ledger card for petty cash, the general ledger purchase control account, creditor's ledger, and other general ledger account codes. Also, any report is now ready to be seen on screen or printed. What you have learned. We are going to use a manual book for recording petty cash. One person is still responsible for managing day-to-day petty cash purchases. We will create a petty cash summary values invoice. We post this invoice to a petty cash supplier account. We will have created a way to manage our very small purchase expenses in a quick and efficient manner with a mixture of a manual and computerized bookkeeping system. Thank you for watching.